Halo, Mbak Santi.
Halo,
Iya. Oh ya, kelihatan.
suaranya
Ada di mana
terdengar?
nih? Ya, terdengar. Udah
Oh,
di
oke.
type.
Udah.
Oh,
Sudah
iya.
mulai kuliah lagi.
Em, Bu, Bu Dewi, tes suara Bu Dewi. Halo Bu Dewi.
Halo, halo
Oh
selamat
ya,
malam.
ya selamat malam. Kedengeran nih suaranya. Kita masih menunggu Pak Joko ya
Oh ya,
sebagai
baik. Suara saya apakah kedengaran, Bu Amel?
kedengeran.
Oh ya, baik.
Sepertinya Pak Joko masih sholat dulu.
Oh ya, baik,
Tunggu
Bu.
ya.
Ya.
Halo Pak Joko. Pak Joko, tes suara.
Ya,
Oke, clear. You can start now.
oke. Nah, ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Today we can meet again in the TOT Jabar. Oke. This participant is oke. Itu ya. Oke. May I introduce myself? My name is Joko Stiono. I am from Office Education in Majalengka. In this evening, we will talking about uh, okay, talking about the sorry, okay, the importance of humanizing pedagogy in digital area. Oh, yes, this is the very interesting topic, and I hope we can improve our competency. We can share about experience with Miss uh, sorry, Miss Miss Retno, Miss Retno Harsanti from National Taiwan Normal University. How are you, Mr. Retno?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And moderate is Miss Dewi Yosina Batuwail from IGI Kota Bogor. How are you, Miss Dewi?
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Okay. Today, I'm very happy we can meet again in this agenda, and we can talking about and how we teach, how we can how can we create an atmosphere so that students can develop their potential to be useful for themselves, society, nation, and state. This is our duty as teacher. Okay. Before the event begins, allow me to read the prayer. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala syadina Muhammad wa ala syadina Muhammad. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma wa bil Islam bidina. Ya Allah ya Rabbi, hanya Engkaulah yang Maha Pengasih, yang Penyayang. Izinkan bukan hati kami agar kami dapat mengembangkan potensi diri kami dengan baik. Izinkan kami, semoga kegiatan malam ini Engkau berkahi. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, thanks soon that's to Miss Dewi Yosina. It's time yours.
Okay, check. Can you listen to my voice?
Okay, clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sir Joko. So, good evening, everyone. I want to listen to your voice. Good evening, dear teachers, dear educators, wherever you are.
Good evening.
Okay, so how are you today? I hope all of us are healthy and in a good condition, and especially I hope we are in a good mood. Maybe we are tired after teaching our beloved students, or maybe we have some duties that we have done in our schools, but it's time for us to upgrade ourselves. And I'm so glad to see you again here in TOT, held by IGI. And then my name is Dewi Yosina Batual. I'm from IGI Bogor. I'm teaching in SMP PPK Penabur Bogor. And our topic of today or tonight is the importance of humanizing pedagogy in digital era. As we know that teachers can't live without technology. And moreover, we live in instant era. Everything can be reached by our fingers through technology. And we also must follow the trend of using the technology. And how to upgrade our teaching method, we can't avoid it. But there are some questions in my mind. Do we only need technology in our teaching method? And how about our relationship between ourselves as teachers and our students? And today we are gonna talk about the importance of humanizing pedagogy in digital era. And maybe I will not talk much because here there is how do I call you, Miss or hello?
Hello,
Yeah.
you can call me anything, just Santi is okay.
Okay. Or maybe I prefer use Miss. Is it okay, Miss Harsanti?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, we have Miss Harsanti here, and you're in Korea right now?
Oh, no. I'm in Taiwan.
Oh, Taiwan. Okay, you are in Taiwan. So how is in Taiwan right now? What
Very
time is
cold.
it? Very cold. How is the
Uh,
temperature? What is the temperature?
it's about 12 degrees.
Oh my God. I can't imagine if I were there.
It's a bit cold.
Okay, what time is it, Miss?
It's 2041. It's
20.
an hour ahead from Jakarta.
Oh, I see. So it's not too noisy, yeah?
I know.
Okay. So, but before we start, let me introduce yourself, Miss Harsanti. I will read your CV first. Okay, so I will share. Okay, can you see the CV on the screen? Okay, yeah. Okay. The full name is HG Retno Harsanti SPD BAD MUI. And then this is the, okay, you can see the mobile number, or phone number, and the email. The education, Ms. Harsanti has taken some awesome educations here. First, PhD in Educational Studies in Department of Education, National Taiwan Normal University since 2023 till now, still ongoing. And then a Master of Applied English Linguistics, Faculty of Education and Language from Atmajaya Catholic University of Indonesia. And oh, great. You're the best graduate and summa cum laude. Wow, amazing. And then the Bachelor of Education, double degree program from Faculty of Education, Universitas Pelita Harapan and Corbin University from USA. Oh, graduate with cum laude. Amazing. Maybe if I can stay, I will give you stand applause. Okay, and Miss Harsanti also has ever got some awards. Here we can see so many outstanding awards. The first is International Scholarship, PhD in Educational Studies, National Taiwan Normal University from 2023 until 2026. And the best graduate, Masters of Applied English Linguistics at Majaya Catholic University of Indonesia. Sorry for the back sound. And then full scholarship in double degree program, Bachelor of Education UPH Indonesia and Corbin University. And top 10 finalist paper competition, the Ari Sutta Center Paper Competition Awards with theme Leadership Challenges in the Conceptual Age. Okay. And then work experiences as a research assistant and collaborator in education field, National Taiwan Normal University since 2023 until now. And research assistant and collaborator in education field, Universitas Pelita Harapan in 2014 up until 2022. And then social studies teacher, Indian Harapan dan Mogot Senior High School, 2016 until 2019. And teaching assistant and human resource management course, 2015 until 2016, Universitas Pelita Harapan. And then the last one, teaching assistant, child and adolescents development course, Universitas Pelita Harapan in 2014 until 2015. There are so many trainings and workshops and forums. As a professor talk seminar, theoretical studies on various research methods, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I don't read all of them, Miss. maybe next you can share more completely for us. And we also can see so many what is it, publication? It is your writing. Is it right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, your writing. You have published some books.
Research articles.
Or research article. Okay, maybe I only read one of them. One of them is impact of psychosocial risk on intention to live work during COVID-19 in Indonesia, the mediatory roles of burnout syndrome and job satisfaction in 2023, and so on. Wow, so many writing that you have made, Miss. And then the professional or technical skills, educational research, quantitative statistics, and then qualitative classroom action research. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, everyone, I think all of you are not patient to listen to Miss Harsanti. And then, so, Miss Harsanti, please welcome everyone to Miss Harsanti. The time is yours. It has Miss Harsanti.
Thank you very much, Miss Dewi Yosina.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good evening, Bapak Ibu. I know that this is an English session, but allow me to use Bapak Ibu because we are Indonesian anyway. And I think that's more respectful to call you Bapak Ibu. It is such an honor for me to be able to share and to learn together with so many teachers in Jawa Barat. Yeah, this is TOT Jawa Barat. So today's topic is the importance of humanizing pedagogy. Let me share the slide. I'm sorry. Is it appear now?
Yes, Miss.
Let me start this seminar with a brief review of education, the characteristic of education in digital era. But I'm sure that all of us already knew this because this is, I think every seminar that is related with digital education also discuss this issue, right? We know that there are rapid changing before the pandemic, when the pandemic comes, and post-pandemic. So if we remember before the pandemic, we used to call our teaching and learning as traditional learning because we come to the school, teach in the class, and something like that. But when the pandemic comes, it's suddenly changed, right? We are forced to conduct an online learning and teaching. And after the pandemic, not really finished, but mitigated. So we comes to the new era, new normal, and we cannot go back to the traditional teaching and learning, right? And we also know that nowadays the information openness is really, I would say, scary because we can find anything easily in the internet. This is the era of data, that everything is in the internet. They can easily just access. And also borderless learning. We can learn anything, anytime, anywhere. Like what we are doing now, we are discussing a topic through technology. I'm in Taiwan and you are all in Indonesia probably. And also there is the labor market trends. Nowadays, I often see many people started to take certification program, micro credential program, and after that they will post the certificate on the social media. So they are not posting the learning, but the certificate. Like I achieved this certification. so many things, so many certification in social media like Instagram and also LinkedIn. So many people wants to show that we are following the trends, the industry requirements, especially the certification in digital thingy like Google Education Certified, Microsoft, and many things. And also technology advancements, like nowadays we have ChatGPT. We can just ask the GPT to do some research for us. And I think these all characteristics bring some benefits. And also the other side, there are some negative impacts, right? Before we continue, let's reflect on ourselves as a teachers or as an educator. Do you use technology in your teaching? I'm sure the answer is yes, of course. But how often? Like every day? Every teaching? Like in every lesson plan? How do you plan your teaching using technology? What technology you use? Who? Is it you? Is it us? Or is it the student who use the technology? When? And why? Why is the very important question. Why do we need to use the technology in our classroom? And how? How was the learning with the technology? Was it good? Was the technology that we use help us to achieve the learning objective? The last question is important. Does the use of technology provide convenience for us as a teacher? Or giving an added value in our teaching, or the opposite? I don't need your answer. I mean, we can reflect it in ourselves, right? But is it really giving us conveniency and added value for us and also for the student? Since I am a PhD student, I'm a researcher, so I read a lot of research articles, and many scientific studies have found that the demands of teaching using technology led teachers to experience high levels of techno-stress, causing them to feel overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, or fatigue. Now let's see ourselves again. Do we experience techno-stress? Do we think that we are overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, or even fatigued? I once experienced this as well when I had to deal with the teaching and learning using technology. I got stressed as well. And this is research. A lot of teachers, so many teachers around the world face this issue. I don't know, probably some of you enjoy using technology and not stress, but probably some of you also feel the stress. But the question is why? Why a lot of teachers in this world feels the techno stress, experience the techno stress? This is the challenge of education in digital era from the perspective of teachers and the education system. The first one is that there is a fallacy in teaching. We have a wrong conceptualization in our mind that everything must be done with technology. I know that not all of teachers, not all of us think that way, but I know that some of teachers think that way. Even my friend, my colleague, my fellow teachers think that if I teach using technology, oh, I'm so cool. Merasa keren, pokoknya kalau pakai teknologi futuristic. Ada Bapak Ibu yang seperti itu. But that's a fallacy of thinking. That's the first one. And the second one is that we are now coming in the era that we have an inhuman or factory education model. So nowadays, many of schools or even university try to post or write in the advertisement of the school or the university that the school use technology in their teaching and learning practice. And it's bring impact that this advertisement can attract as many intakes as possible. So when we say that, oh, our school have an advancement technology, we have a very good technology in teaching and learning, they hope that many new students come to the school. So they are emphasizing on the use of technology in the school. I don't know if it is good or bad, but probably it is good for the foundation of the school or university. They got so many new students. But is it really necessary to use technology in every teaching and learning? That's the question for all of us. And the second one is very dangerous, I think. The schools nowadays tend to mandate the teachers to meet technology usage standard without considering the real needs of the students. So the problem occurs when the schools already set the standard that the teacher, when you teach your subject, you have to provide so many things. For example, you have to provide the learning videos. You need to provide the learning materials, the reading articles, the e-books, the online quiz, the online assignment, the online forum, online project. It's not wrong. I mean, those activities is good. But when you are forced or we are forced to follow all of the list without considering the needs, is it really needed to be done for this lesson, for this topic? We just follow the need, the standard that's set by the schools. That's the problem. Because we as the teacher are becoming like robots. We just follow the set of the standard. We are forced to adapt the technology usage standard instead of addressing the students' learning needs. But this is the issue, because the schools want to show the society, the parents, that we use technology in our teaching and learning. But the position of the technology is above us as the teacher. We just need to use the technology without thinking or without considering, oh, this is really needed for us, for our students. So we're creating an atmosphere of schooling without learning. That's a problem, isn't it? Now let's see this picture. Previously, we talked from the perspective of teacher and education system. Now, from this picture, we can see the difference, right? It's, if I remember a long time ago when I was a kid, my mom would stand in the street, at the street, holding broomstick. Ya jauh-jauh udah kelihatan dari ujung gang udah pegang sapu, atau pegang sandal, atau pegang apa aja lah. Dipikir udah maghrib, bukannya pulang, kelayapan. It's really hard for our parents to make us go home from playing. But nowadays, it's so different. It's really hard to make our children go outside and play with the other children because they are happy with their gadget, even from the very young age. But this is real, isn't it? So let's discuss the challenge for the students. So from the so many research, I found that there is social isolation in the students' situation. Like they are too much focused on themselves and they prefer to interact with technology instead of with human beings. And it also brings impact. They tend to have imaginary belonging. They tend to have sense of belonging with their online community instead of the real community, the offline or the online, the on-site community. Because they tend to be more comfortable with their imaginary life in their gadget, in their computer. And this problem create another issue, which is mental health issue. So many research have found that many students feel lonely, stress, burnout, and depression actually. This is real. They have to be, they have a different life in digital era, but they also have a life in school, which is so different with their life in the imaginary belonging. And with all of the requirement at school, with the technology that they need to follow their task, it creates loneliness, stress, burnout, and depression. And the other case is that the openness of information also create problem because it's a raw information. We can access anything, anywhere. It includes our students as well. They also can access anything. They can ask anything. They can get any information they want. But the problem is, since it is still raw information, they have to conclude or make decisions based on their own understanding. And the problem is that this is the post-truth era. That the truth is become relative. So our students tends to follow the majority. If the majority choose A, oh, so A is true. But when new information comes, they can suddenly change. Oh, no. There is another option. And majority change to choose B. So the students think, oh, so B is the truth, not A anymore. So it can be very relative. And it's really dangerous because we know that we want to have our young generation to be educated, to have good character. But when they cannot decide what is true, what is right, and what is wrong, it is a problem. Therefore, our education must act as the agent of change. But how? Now, let me start with the direction of Merdeka Belajar and Merdeka Mengajar. Let me quote from our Minister of Education, Mas Nadiem Makarim. In 2019, he said, Merdeka Belajar adalah kemerdekaan berpikir. Dan terutama esensinya, this is ketutup. Dan terutama esensi kemerdekaan belajar ini harus ada di guru dulu. Tanpa terjadi di guru, tidak mungkin bisa terjadi di murid. This is what he said. And I do agree. In this digital era, we have so many open information, and that is good. But we should be careful. And this freedom of thought should start with teachers, and that is true. And as professional teachers, we need to help to educate our students to make critical judgment themselves, so that from the raw information that they have, they can decide what is true, what is right, and what is wrong. So this is the importance to ensure that education is humanizing through humanizing pedagogy. But what is humanizing pedagogy? Humanizing pedagogy is an approach that promotes the process of becoming more fully human. Proses untuk menjadi manusia seutuhnya. That's in bahasa Indonesia. Because in digital era, more and more we are becoming like a robot. But through education, through humanizing pedagogy, we want to become more human. A social, historical, thinking, communicating, transformative, creative person who participate in and with the world. We do not want to be robotic teachers, and we do not want our students to just follow the trends without critical judgment. because not everything is important and not everything is meaningful for our students, right? So in order to become more fully human, the process includes sharing and co-creating knowledge. And since it is a co-creating knowledge, therefore we have to build dialogue in the classroom. The phrase participate in and with here is very important. Participate in and with the world means that we want to help our students to be able to participate or contribute with the real social issue in the world. Because we are living in real world, not just imaginary digital living, right? So this is very important. Now, the benefit of dialogue, it's building academic and social resiliency. Our students need to be able to overcome the academic challenge and also be able to adapt with the social changes, because the reality is changing very rapidly, right? As well as the social issues, as well as the digital issues, they have to be resilient. And through dialogue, they can build this resiliency. The second one is to help them to have citizenship and community sense of belonging in real life. Start from our classroom, not only the online community, but offline community. The third one is to build tolerance toward disagreement. I think this is very important. With social media nowadays, many people can show disrespectful behavior in social media easily using fake account, right? So many hate speech, bad comments, but hiding with fake accounts. And I know when I was a teacher, I know most of my students have second account for their social media because they do not want to be recognized, to be traced, but they can do anything they want. And they can easily arguing one another when they have different opinion. So this is important. From dialogue, we can help them to have tolerance toward disagreement. And also the last benefit is we can develop the 21st century skill, critical thinking, literacy, critical literacy, complex communication, creativity, collaboration, flexibility, and adaptability. Now the question is how we do the dialogue, right? There are two things in this session that I would like to share. The first one is we start with the belief, the teacher's belief. The teacher's belief meaning that what we believe in our mind and in our heart. Before we do the dialogue, we should have these beliefs first. The first one is to promote respect, trust, and caring relationship. And since it is a relationship, it's involved two parties. The parties means it can be teacher and student, and also student and student. But in broader context, for school context, for example, it can be also teacher and teachers, right? Because it's a relationship, well, it's including two parties. And since we want to promote respect, trust, and caring relationship, we have to believe that this relationship is important. We have to think that having a respectful relationship in the classroom is important. Having a trust relationship in the classroom is important. And a caring relationship in the classroom is important. Start with the belief itself. If we do not believe on this, then it's really hard to do it, to build the dialogue. So we have to believe it. And since we want to achieve this, we have to establish clear expectation. Again, it's a relationship, so it's not only us as teacher. It's involved the student as well. So we have to establish the clear expectation. We have to allow the students to know the expectation that we would like to build respect, trust, and caring relationships. So the students need to know this, that respect, trust, caring relationship is the goal. Together. Explain this issue to the students in the classroom. And the third one is we believe that open communication is important. So we also encourage open communication between teachers and students. And the last one is that we are, as a teacher, is the role model. So we have to show the model of respectful behavior. This is the first belief. The second one, still the belief, is that we have to value students' background, knowledge, and experiences. We have to believe that students are not blank sheet. This is called tabula rasa in education field. Students are not blank sheet. They know so many things. Even the things that we don't know, probably they know, right? We're probably older than the students, but they know so many things. They're not coming to the school without knowledge. No, they have so many knowledge. So we have to acknowledge it, that they are not blank sheet. And we have to accommodate their prior knowledge and experience. Since they know many things, we also need to ask what they do know about certain things related to our teaching. The third one is that we also need to acknowledge the diverse cultural, social, and educational backgrounds that students bring to the classroom. We have to believe in our minds and heart that their background is important, because acknowledging their diversity will help us to help them in learning easily. For example, when we teach students about social issue, for example, population in senior high school, it will be easier for us when we know that certain students come from wealthier family and some students come from unfortunate family. So they have different perspective on seeing population and poverty and criminality rate. So this different background is very important in the learning process. So we have to believe as a teacher that this background is important to be acknowledged in the learning process. That's the second belief in our hearts and our mind. The third one, still teacher's belief. And I think this is the most difficult part for us to, as a teacher. The third one is equalizing the power between students and teachers to promote academic freedom. I know that as an Indonesian, we are Asian countries. We usually believe that teachers has the authority in the classroom, right? We are above from the students. We are the leaders in the classroom. But this point is talking about the power and the same right to express the idea, to express the argument. So we have to believe that students and teachers have the same right to express themselves. Of course, we see teachers as the one who have the authority in the classroom. Yes, still. But when it comes to expressing the idea, argument, opinion, teachers and students have the same right. I know this is not easy, but this is important when we want to build the dialogue. And the second one is we have to believe that differences of opinion are allowed and respected, but they do not need to be agreed. So if there are differences in opinion, it's okay, even though we disagree, but it's okay. We allow them to happen in our classroom. We have to believe it. Now we come to the action. If we already have the belief, we can implement it in the action. The first one is we need to integrate the subject matter with real life example in social issues. Remember, we want to help the students to participate in and with the world, right? So in order to achieve that objective, we have to be able to integrate the subject matter with real life example in social issue. We can use real experiences in our surrounding and relate our material with relevant problems or issue for discussion. For example, if we are teaching young students, young learners, for example, for grade 5, we teach plant cycle life, we can relate it with the use of plants or trees to make paper, pencil, or tissue. We help the students to think that planting trees needs a very long time. But when we use paper or tissue, it's just seconds, right? We just need some seconds to finish it. So we can bridge the learning material in the social issue. Another example is for higher students, higher grade students, for example, for grade 10. When we teach population and density, we can relate it with criminality rate, with poverty rate, with inequality learning opportunity between people in the city and the suburb. Especially when they are students, we can see this is related with them. How can they can have facilities in a very good facilities in their schools since they are in the city, but some children in this country, in Indonesia, who live in suburb area, do not have the same opportunity like the students. So we create our learning with example and relevant problems so that they can think critically. The second one, this is for the young learners. So if you are elementary teachers, this is the steps. For young learners, we need to provide the scaffolding. Scaffolding is the step given to students to acquire knowledge. We need to provide the steps because they need to be guided, right? They are young learners, they need to be guided. So this is the technology usage. We use the technology as a tool to provide students with engaging visual and question. It is because young learners usually are easily attracted with visuals. So we can use technology to help us. We can use our computer to show some pictures in the LCD projector, for example. And also the questions, not only visual pictures and graph, but also the questions. Why? Because this is young learner, right? If you do not post the question in the projector, they will ask you again and again, Miss, what's the question again? Miss, what's the problem again? So you need to post it in the LCD projector or in the whiteboard, so they can just read it by themselves. And use learning aids if possible to attract the students' interest. I know that not every school has computer on their own in every classroom, so we can use other learning aids to help them. Posters, mind map, books, globe, for example, many things. We can use learning aids to help to attract the students' interest. Again, remember, technology including learning aids, is tool. It's just a tool. We use it when we need it, right? So after posing the question, after giving them the questions that is related with the social issue, that related with our subject matter, we ask them to work in collaborative learning with the other students. It's to help them to communicate one another. It gives them the space to communicate with other human beings, right? It is very important to help them to communicate in real situation. I know that they are in schools, they communicate when they are playing, when they have the break time, but we need a situated learning that helps them to communicate for the learning and social issues. So ask them to work together, give them the guidance through the questions. If it is possible for them, ask them to create something. For example, mind map, so that they can present it after the class. I mean, when you provide them with the time to present, just in simple format, not too complicated because it's young learner, right? And the last one, it is very important that you encourage students to give comments and feedbacks on others. But remember, this is for young learners. So as a teacher, we need to help them, guide them how to give comments. We can help them by asking, what do you think about their mind mapping? Which part do you like? Or what do you learn from your students' presentation? So we ask them so that they can know how to give comments in a good way, right? And this is the steps. This is the scaffoldings that we provide for them to acquire the knowledge. It's a bit different if it is for higher grader. So for the higher grader, we need to provide case and leading open questions. For example, using the same example, if we need to teach them about populations in social studies, we can use the technology as a tool to provide them with the case from real data. For example, census data from BPS, Badan Pusat Statistik, that's real data. Or we can use the technology to show map or satellite that's showing density area. We can show them, oh, this is Jakarta, very crowded. This is Jawa Barat, for example. Probably we can show them, oh, this is Papua, very big island, but not so dense, not so crowded. Or criminality rate. Provide them with the case, real case. Again, the technology here is a tool. We use this when we need it, not the other way around. And we need to pose open-ended questions, the why and how. Because this kind of question will help them to think critically. And encourage the students to use technology to explore more information about the case. It is because they are higher grade, probably where they are in a high school. They have maturity so that they can use the technology by their own. And it is, I think nowadays, many of high school allow the students to use technology in the classroom, right? Laptop, phone, mobile phone, but ensure that they are under control, that they are using technology for learning purpose. So yeah, it's okay. Use the technology to explore more information about the case. And ask the students to think, write, and share. This is important stage. Why? Because nowadays, students can easily ask ChatGPT or artificial intelligence to write them the project, right? So in our classroom, we need to help them to write by their own. Not so many students nowadays that can write down their ideas. They have so many things in their mind, but not everyone can express the idea in writing. This is a very important skill. So we need to help them not to forget how to write academically. And after that, we ask them to share. When they are doing the project, the case study with their group, we need to facilitate the class discussion using the rules critic, reason, and solution because they are high school students. We need to help them to understand if you want to critique on something, if you want to criticize something, you have to give the reason why. Why do you agree on this? Or why do you disagree with this? That's the critical thinking. When they can provide the reason, that's a reasoning process. But we not stop. We do not stop at that. We want them to provide the alternative. When they critiques on something, ask them to give the solution. If you do not agree or you disagree with this, what's the other solution? What's your idea about this? And from this kind of discussion, we can create dialogue because when our students have one idea, probably the other students have different idea, and that's okay. That's the importance of dialogue. To have so many ideas when everyone can have space to express the idea. The next step, this is the last steps actually, is to celebrate the diversity and provide constructive feedback. As the teacher, we need to provide feedback to all group fairly. So for every group, we need to give our comments one by one. I suggest that when we give the feedback, we use the sandwich technique. The sandwich technique that we focus, the first thing is the good side, and in the middle we can give the critics. What are their weaknesses when they are doing the discussion, the ideas, and close it with the good side again. So it's a sandwich. Good, weakness, and good things again. Usually it helps them to have more self-efficacy because at the end, they are not focused on the weakness side, but also the good side. And we need to focus on how students articulate the ideas and the reasoning rather than simply supporting right or wrong. Because in building dialogues, we are not focusing in the right or wrong, but how we reason or how the students can express the idea with supporting arguments. It's even better if the students can provide supporting data because they use the technology to open so many information, they can get the data. So when they can provide ideas using logical arguments and reasoning, and even with the data, we need to appreciate it because they can build the argument and build the dialogue. We do not want to focus on the right or wrong answer, but the process itself, so that the students can know, oh, giving reason, giving arguments is important. And this is also important, the third point. We need to appreciate students who express disagreement politely. Of course, when we do dialogue, when the students do dialogue, there will be a disagreement. I remember one day when we discussed a population, because I teach geography, we discussed about why some cities are rich and some area are poor. And one of the students have the idea, that's because they are lazy. They are poor because they are lazy. This idea, of course, bring so many reactions, right? But one of my female students can politely express her disagreement. She said, hi, using the name. I don't want to disclose the name of the students, but I know that you have the idea about poverty and everything, but I think blah, 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 blah. So she can articulate her ideas in polite manner. And we need to appreciate it so that the students can see that being polite is also important, even though the idea is different. We can disagree with anyone, but the way we disagree with anyone, with other people, is still civilized. It's better to show disagreement with polite manner rather than we show agreement with impolite manner, right? Because the way we articulate our ideas is also important. We probably know that when students express the idea in bad way, probably we can know that even though the idea is good, but we feel that the way is not good, right? And it is more difficult for us to receive the idea because of the way the students communicate it. So we need to help them to see that expressing disagreement with polite manner is important. And the last one, we also need to encourage students to reflect on the discussion process that has been done. We can ask them, what do you think about today's class? What do you learn about this, the lesson today? What do you learn about the process of discussion? Do you think that your idea is received well by the other students? We also need to ask, do you give disagreement respectfully? Do you behave respectfully during the process of discussion? So that they can see and they can reflect on how do they do the dialogue in the classroom. So we come to the conclusion that we know in this digital era, education faces challenges on social isolation and rigidity in the educational system. And both challenges affect both teachers and students. And therefore, education should be the agent of change. And what we can do is that when we do the teaching process, we teach with a humanizing pedagogy approach through fostering dialogue in the classroom. We need to help them. We need to help the students to come back to real life, not just imaginary life. We need to help the students to come to the social issue in real life so that they can make critical judgment from the so many informations in digital era. And when we want to do it, we start with the teacher's belief in academic freedom and appreciation for diversity. We start with the belief that teachers and students can have the same right in the dialogue. And we also need to remember that technology is just a tool to enhance the learning according to the needs. Technology is useful, yes. Technology is important, yes. But when we decide to use the technology, we know certainly that this technology is needed to help us in the teaching process, not the other way around. Not because the school require us to use the technology, we follow it. I know that we cannot just change the system. That's why I said this is start from our belief. We know that technology is a tool. If we just follow the set or we give the student these activities just to meet the standard, well, the technology is above us. So remember that technology is a tool. And we need to plan the lessons that stimulates critical thinking, reasoning, and constructive communication. Help the students to build their offline community, the real community, starting from the school, with civilized manner that accommodate and appreciate diversity so that when they come into real life, including their digital life, they know how to show this disagreement respectfully. They can not only criticize things, but also provide an alternative and solution. Thank you very much for the time. I give back the time to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Miss Harsanti. Yeah, as we know that, and maybe we have already done some of your explanation, and yeah, some of us maybe feel the techno stress. Yeah, yes, so do I. Moreover, when we have to teach in the pandemic, maybe almost 24 hours, we must think about what we have to do in our teaching, especially by using so many kinds of application that we can use in our teaching. Um, yeah, technology is a tool, and it's our homework as teachers how to build belief in our students, and also especially as humans, because we as teachers we are not facing tools or what is it we face human being. Yeah, and then yeah, let's learn together to upgrade ourselves. Well, Bapak Ibu, I see there are some audience or some of you have raised your hands and then have some questions. So maybe we can start from a question in YouTube from YouTube. Okay, the first one is just a minute. Okay, from is it Bapak or Ibu Diah Rahmi? Or maybe Ibu, yeah? From Ibu Diah Rahmi. How to create the method with pedagogy on the digital era? Okay, Miss Hasanti.
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. How to create the method with the pedagogy on the digital era. Actually, it's already been explained. Yeah.
Method.
Yeah.
The method. Well, the question is a bit broad. How do we create the method?
The method. How to create the method with. Maybe yeah.
Probably the question would be, how do we implement the pedagogy of the humanizing pedagogy? Well, like what I've explained in the seminar, that we start with the belief first. We start with the belief that accommodating the students' background and the position of the students as that they have the same right in building the dialogue is important, because we want to acknowledge the student as a human being, the same as us as the teacher. Only after that we can use the steps in building dialogues in the classroom, right? And it is very important when we want to help them to be a human being that contribute in the real world problem. We need to think how to implement and integrate the learning process with the real issue problem. That's the core. And the way is so many. I mean, like the different subject would lead to different methods of teaching, right? When we talk about physics, for example, of course, it's different with the subject of sociology. When we talk about physics or chemistry, we will have a scientific approach more rather than the discussion itself. But in the process, we still need dialogue to relate the learning process with the social issue. I think that's the answer.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Okay, let's go to the next question. Before we go to Ibu Diania, who has raised her hands. It is from Solahuddin, Bapak ya, Bapak Solahuddin Al-Ayubi. What are some ways to encourage students to reflect on the discussion process? Is it clear, Miss? Yeah. Okay.
I think when we want to help the students to reflect on the learning process, we can use many ways. But one of the way that I usually use is that we have like a learning log, and I already have the certain guideline. Usually I ask, what do you feel about today's learning? That's the first question. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Are you satisfied? What do you learn about today's lesson? We can ask, what is the most important things that you learned today? So we can help them by giving the questions on reflecting on the lessons. It is a bit hard if we do not provide the guidance because they are students, they are in the learning process. And a reflection is part of the metacognition process. Metacognition is above the cognitive, of course, because metacognition is thinking about the thinking process, right? So when we want to help them to think about what they are thinking, so we need to help them with the guidance questions, the guidance reflections questions. I think that's the easiest way to do the reflection for the students.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Okay, please Ibu Dian Kusumawardani. Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, please, Ibu Dian.
Okay, thank you very much for the time giving to me, Mbak Retno Harsanti. Yeah, it's very, very smart, benar ya. I do agree with your statement that technology is only a tool. So though a school really asks teachers to use technology, but actually it really depends on the condition of the students.
Right.
The problem is the questions are the first. It's still about scaffolding. Yeah, may we use scaffolding for high school students? Because so far I know, and what I read on Google, scaffolding is only used for or only given to kinds of students. And then if we use technology, I mean that is there any scaffoldings provided for high school students? I'm a high school student, Mbak Retno, that because the students where I teach is really in a basic condition, and then still hard to think critically because and then they still have to analyze sentences. Yeah, whereas we must gain the target to go to the next education like university. Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you very much, Bu Dian. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Ibu
Bu
Dian.
Dian. Thank you for the questions. Yeah, scaffoldings usually is used for young learners because the young learners need to be guided often but it's not limited to young learners actually, because the concept of scaffolding is we give steps to help the students to acquire the knowledge, and the steps is not specifically using certain technologies. So if we teach in the schools that are limited with the facility, we can create the steps ourselves, and we can the first thing is that we need to see the basic ability of the students. Like Ibu Dian said that the students is in a very basic competencies or basic skill. So we start from that conditions. We need to see the needs first, and then after that, if we already know the condition. Can I answer it in Bahasa Indonesia? I think this is
Yes, please,
I think
please.
this will be
Okay.
jadi kalau
Please,
kita
Mira,
mau
something.
siapkan scaffolding, yang paling penting yang pertama adalah kita memahami dulu kebutuhan anak didik kita. Kalau kita sudah tahu kebutuhan anak didik kita di mana, baru kita siapkan tahapan belajarnya. Tidak harus menggunakan teknologi yang digital kalau memang tidak ada. Nggak apa-apa. Karena scaffolding konsepnya adalah kita menyiapkan tahapan belajar untuk mereka mencapai pengetahuan secara mandiri. Mohon maaf, Ibu Dian mengajari subjek apa?
Bahasa Inggris.
Bahasa Inggris. Ketika saya mengajar bahasa Inggris, sorry, karena saya dari linguistik, kita biasanya membuat tahapan belajar dari hal yang sederhana ketika mereka membaca. Kalau kita tahu kebutuhan belajar mereka masih di level basic, kita siapkan bacaan teksnya yang sesuai dengan kemampuan mereka dulu. Apakah mereka membutuhkan certain complication? Nah, itu yang kita tentukan. Dan kita juga siapkan tahapan saja, misalnya dari kita siapkan artikelnya, kemudian kita lakukan proses think pair share-nya. Kita tentukan kelompoknya, kita tentukan juga mana student yang sudah lebih advance, mana student yang kurang advance, lalu kita gabungkan. Karena di dalam konsep scaffolding, kita juga ada yang namanya the more knowledgeable. Jadi semakin kita satukan anak yang lebih advance dengan anak yang kurang bisa, di situ proses belajar dan transfer terjadi. Nah, itu kita yang tentukan. Step itu kita lakukan berdasarkan kebutuhan anak. Tidak harus dengan teknologi tertentu. Itu poin utamanya, Bu. Jadi tentukan dulu kebutuhannya, baru kita siapkan step-stepnya. Begitu.
So if I can conclude that scaffolding really depend on students ya. Jadi tidak ada frame khusus, special frame atau apa agak rigid gitu ya. Scaffolding.
No, because scaffolding is the steps that we prepare and help the students to acquire the knowledge independently.
And it depends on the student's conditions, student's ability. Right. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ibu Dian. And then we go to the next. And we go to the next question from Ibu Andrika Nainggolan. Ibu Andrika has two questions. Okay, the first one is, what is the teacher competency they have to upgrade to accommodate learning process? Okay, what is the teacher competence they have to upgrade to accommodate learning process? And the second one, what is your opinion? What is your opinion about pedagogy in Papua, especially in District 2? Can this process imply? Yeah, that's always.
Well, first of all, I would like to say good evening to Bu Andrika. Ibu Andrika Nainggolan was my former lecturer when I was in a bachelor degree. Thank you very much for joining us in this seminar, Bu Andrika. For the first question, since this is my former lecturer, I'm a bit nervous. So if the question is about the teacher competency, what is the teacher competency that they have to upgrade to accommodate the learning process? Well, we know that teachers' competency has different several aspects, but since it is about pedagogy, it's already answered, right? The most relevant is the pedagogical competence, right? Because we are talking about the pedagogy. But I think since we want to believe that technology is a tool in enhancing our learning, it's also required digital literacy as well. I said literacy, not competency, because literacy and competency is different, right? Are two different things. Literacy is related with the knowledge. When we know that digital things is good, it's important, but not everything. It helps us to understand how to implement or how to use the technology in our learning. And for the second question, this is very important, very interesting question. What is my opinion about the pedagogy in Papua, especially in so many districts? I have a lot of Papuans friends because when I was in undergrad, we have our university have a collaboration with Papua government to give the scholarship to Papua students. And I know that so many teachers in Papua are so creative in implementing pedagogy. I mean, when they are teaching the students, they use everything that they have to enhance the learning, not only technology. Because in many areas in Papua that already developed by the government, they have the connection, they have the internet, they can use the digital technology in enhancing their learning, and they use it. And it's very amazing. I think the teachers in Papua are very dedicated and they use technology in helping the teaching. But I know in some places, in a very remote area like Daboto, like Mamit, which needs hours to go to the city, and the facilities is not as good as us in Jawa Barat, for example. They use the teaching aid from everything that they have. They use the nature. They make the scaffoldings by themselves according to the students' need. I have so many friends that can share it with you if the opportunity comes. I can ask them to share. But I think when we want to implement the pedagogy, the humanizing pedagogy, the important thing is that we really need to know that we are human and the students are also human. Therefore, we need to help them to be human beings, to be socially interacted with other students, with other human beings, and use technology as a tool in the learning process. So yes, the answer is this approach can be implemented in Papua as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let me see, is there any more question? Okay, I think no more. Okay, so thank you, Miss Harsanti, and thank you for sharing. Thank you for some knowledge that it can enhance our ability as teachers, and hope all of us can get so many new things that we can apply in our teaching method. And then we hope, Miss Harsanti, you will always be successful, and not only for your you are still learning there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
In
I
a
hope you
long way
always
process.
yeah. Keep fighting for your studies, and then always be blessed and be a blessing wherever you are. On behalf of
Thank you.
Iggy, I would like to say thank you so much for your sharing. Okay, so I give back to Bapak Joko as the MC. Bapak Joko, the time is
Okay.
yours.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hasanti and Ms. Dewi. And that's very interesting. And I can give more experience about pedagogic in digital area. This is very, very good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, maybe this is end of this event, and I am the host. I'm sorry if many mistake, and we can meet again next time. Thank you very much, and akhirul kalam. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.